Good morning everyone and welcome to lesson 2 of Journey to the Jungle. Today we are going to look at our story again and create some diary maps. So let's have a look at our date and learning intention. It is Tuesday the 23rd of February. Our learning intention is I can create a diary map and make it interactive. So it's not just going to be drawing your pictures on paper, there are some optional extras for afterwards. So first off, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a part of the story and then demonstrate how I create my story map to go with the story. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do the same. Now, we looked at there being 5 parts of the story. I've split mine into 6 just because it works for the slides better. So if you'd like to do yours in 6 pieces as well, that's okay. Because what we can do, and I'll show you later, is we'll merge 2 of them together. And that works better for our 5 parts of a story to remember what happens and to help us writing our own diary log. Why am I talking about stories? Wake up, Miss Foster, we're on diary logs. So let's have a look and go through the first slide of the story, and then what we'll do is we'll go through the first slide of my diary log, and then we will make the first part of our diary map. Let's go. Jungle Log, 18th of Feb 2021. Today has been an amazing day of discovery. I woke up early and I got ready for my trek into the Atlantic jungle. I was excited and I couldn't wait to see what lay ahead of me. I packed my rucksack and I put on my sturdy walking boots. I made sure my camera was working because I wanted to record as much of my day as possible. I left camp at 6 a.m. Great, so that's the first slide of our diary log. Now, what we're going to be doing is picking out the key parts, the key things that you think about. So this is mine and this is what I think about. Before I do mine, might be worth you jotting some ideas down, drawing some pictures and presenting your story map so that you don't just end up with one identical to mine. I think yours might be quite similar though, because this is how it works. Let's go through my first bit. So if you want to pause now and do the pictures you'd box up first. Top tip, I've got 2 different boxing up sets for this, so 2 parts of my story in this section. So here's part 1. Did I say story again? Probably. Diary log, diary log, diary log. Okay, so here is my first section, boxing up pictures from my diary log. So I have chosen that I wake up really early, and I know that waking up really early had to happen before 6. Why? Because I set off at 6. So I've chosen a clock to show that it's early in the morning and that I've chosen the trees and the word Atlanti to remind me I'm journeying through the Atlanti jungle. I'm at my campsite. The second part I've chosen to box up is there's 4 pictures here just for one part because I know that I need my rucksack, my walking boots, my camera, and I'm leaving at 6 o'clock. So you could draw that however you want in one box. You could draw it as one picture, you could draw it as 4 pieces like I have to help me remember. And this is what works for me. So let's go through that again. I know I'm waking up really early to journey through the Atlantic jungle. I need to pack my rucksack, my walking boots, my camera, and I'm leaving at 6 a.m, 6 in the morning. That is the first part of my diary map, my log map. And that will help me remember what happens in what order. Your turn now to listen to the next part of my diary log, and then we'll do the same again. First, I trudged through the dense forest and collected samples of the plant life. My favourite was a thorny bush. It had tiny yellow flowers growing on it, which smelt like ice cream. Then I studied some of the mesmerising insects that were crawling up the rough bark of every tree. One insect looked like a caterpillar, but had 2 sets of wings and tiny hands on the ends of its 20 legs. Excitedly, I photographed as many creatures as I could, because I wanted to show my explorer friends what I had discovered. Great, so I've left parts 1 and 2 there boxed up for you. Now let's remind ourselves what happens in parts 3 and 4. So, I've got my little walking boots down there next to a tree to show that I'm trudging or trekking through the jungle. And then I've got a little plastic bag where I've collected some samples of flowers. And that will remind me that in the diary log I collected my samples from flowers. Then I've also got my favourite flower, which was the thorny bush, and I don't know if you can tell that it's thorny from my little arrows, but that helps me remember. I'm not an artist, okay guys? I'm sure yours are going to be much better than mine. So I've got my thorny bush, and I've put in a thought bubble next to it and a picture of an ice cream, because in my log I've written that the little yellow flowers smell like ice cream. So I thought it's already making me chuckle a little bit now, looking at it, because it's reminding me what happened in my log. Okay, I know that I looked at a thorny bush and the little yellow flowers smelt like ice cream. And I've drawn my flowers as little as I can, but big enough so that you can still see them. So that is part 3 of my diary log. Then I'm looking at these magnificent insects crawling up the tree and describing one in particular, and that one in particular has 2 sets of wings, 20 legs, and little hands on the ends of the legs. So I got a little bit creative here and drew it so that you could see my little hand. Can you see? I've just zoomed it in so that you can have a look like a magnifying glass. That is not quite the end of my part 4. This is where I'm merging 2 together. So I'm mixing another part into part 4, I think, to help me. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this, whether I'm going to merge parts 3 and 4 or parts 4 and 5. We'll see in a minute, and we'll go from there. Right, so that's the end of this part of the diary log. We're going to look at the next part of my diary log and carry on. So, enjoy! After a short tea break, I measured the circumference of the tallest trees to work out how old they were. One measured 10 metres around and was so tall that I couldn't see the top of it. It reminded me of the beanstalk in a famous children's story. Next, I trekked to a clearing and found a beautiful plunge pool. The water was turquoise and tiny neon fish were splashing on the surface. I tried to catch one, but they were too fast for me. Then it was time for a rest. I lounged on the pink grass, soaking up the purple sunbeams, and listened to the strange jungle noises around me. Finally, I headed back to camp because the sun began to set. It sets quickly in Areno, and I was worried I might get lost. When I got to my tent, I unpacked my rucksack and stored my plant samples safely. I'm really looking forward to where my wardrobe will take me next week. Okay, so I've still got the last part of my map on here for you to see, so we're carrying on. My next part of the map is, and we've just gone through the diary log, and I've got the picture of me measuring the circumference of the tree. So I've got a little rope going around the tree with a measuring tape, and an arrow to show that it's just as tall as a beanstalk in a story I know. So I've made a comparison there, and it might be possible for you to think of stories that you know when we come to writing your diary logs, and trying to drop one in there maybe. But I've done that to help me remember that I'm looking at trees that are so tall that I can't see the tops of them, like a beanstalk in a story that I know. That is the next part of my diary log. So at the minute I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. I think I've made a little boo-boo here, telling you I've only got 6 parts. I think I put 7 in, so I'm going to have to merge a couple more together as part of my plot. So the next part of my diary log is that I discovered a magnificent beauty, didn't I? A marvel to look at. I discovered a pond area with pink grass and purple sunbeams shining down on me. So as you can see in my little picture, as I said, I'm not an artist, hence why my trees look like broccoli. But your trees are going to be much better than mine. I've done my pink grass, my little fishes dancing on the top of the water side, the purple sunbeams beaming down, okay, and I've made a clearing between two trees. And that is how I'm going to remember all those things, because I look at that picture and it just tells me big clearing between two trees, pink grass, turquoise water, neon fish jumping at the top of the water, and purple sunbeams shining down. Simple as that. Here's the next part, and the final part is that I make my way back to my tent. Okay, the sun is going down. I could have done a sunset or something in the background, but you know, I found it hard enough to draw all of these. So get as creative as you want, but I've obviously done it to the best of my ability. So there is my little tent, and my journey heading back. So let's see if we can group these up. Maybe we should colour code them into their parts. So I know that this is going to be the last part on its own. Okay, the character going home. And I know that maybe how could I group this? Now there's a character getting ready for their date. Oh, I don't want to use red again, do I? Get rid of the red. Let's go for a different colour to start my day off. Okay, let's go. I might group into my boxing up process that all as one. Okay, I'm getting ready for my day. I'm getting ready to go. So that's one part. And I might make this a part on its own. So this is number 2. Put a number 2 in there. Shall we put a number 1 at the top? 1, 2. That's my second part, I think. I know that this part with the purple sunbeams needs to be a part on its own because the character is discovering something marvellous. So if that's 1, 2, 3, this must be number 4. And I can go back a step and make this. I'm not going to close that box because I'm going to close it over here. This is all part number 3. Why can I put a 3? Okay, 3. So my first part, let's go through this together. Part 1 is that I'm waking up in the morning, I'm getting ready for the day ahead. Okay, it's early and I need to get everything together. Part 2 is that I start going off and looking at samples of plants. And I've done it as part 2 as just plants. Part 3 is then me looking at insects and taking measurements and counting things and recording. So I'm taking measurements and recording wings on the bugs, and I'm also measuring and recording the height and circumference and age of the trees. So that's why I've put them together, because it's all measuring and recording. And then part 4, I find a marvellous beauty to look at. And then part 5, I head back home to my tent. Off I plod because it's getting dark, and that's the end of my day. There is my story map, all finished and all done. It's quite easy, isn't it? So 5 parts, done. I wonder if you can box yours up and number them and label them and make sure you've got your 5 parts. So what I'll do now is I'll put up a quick recap of the plot of the diary log to help you if you need to do that. So let's run through the plot of the diary quickly, my jungle log, and let's have a look at the different parts. There's 5 main parts, remember. So my first part that I've got down is that the main character prepares for their day. The main character takes samples and admires the plants. The main character studies insects and takes records. The main character discovers a marvellous beauty. That was the plunge pool area. And the main character returns to their camp. So it's quite simple. 5 simple main things to look at in our diary. Now that's not the point of today's lesson, but I just wanted to sum up the plot so that we've got it ready for later in our learning. Now I've got some activities to try that will help bring your diary log map to life. It means that you'll be looking a bit more in depth at what actually happens in the diary, what the events are, and what you're doing. Now, you can do these at home or in school, doesn't matter where you are. Obviously I'm aware some of you are learning from school, some of you are learning from home. And I've made it so that if you're at home, it doesn't matter if you don't have someone with you, you can do at least one of the activities on your own. Okay, and you can actually practice one of the activity, a couple of the activities, and then model them to a grown-up or a family member that has time to watch. And it doesn't have to be right here, right now. You can prepare it and then do it with them later when they're free. If you've got someone who's got 5 minutes to do it with you, then great. If not, then there's activities to do without someone. With me, basically, in the video. Okay? So, one of the activities is to role play, another is to hot seat, and another is to mime. Okay? Now, the idea in this is that you can have a go at these activities and get a bit more involved in the text. I'm going to explain to you on the next 3 slides what each of these activities might look like. So, role play. Can you act out the diary events? Can you think about how the person might feel, the faces they might make when they're discovering things, how they might act, and what they might say? So, have a think about those things and see if you can act out the diary events in order, out of order, whatever feels better for you. Act them out and then make sure that the person you're with knows the story so that they can make sure you don't forget anything. Maybe give you more ideas. But have a go at doing that on your own first and preparing it on your own first and then sharing it with a grown-up. And that's absolutely fine. Let's have a look at the next option. The next one is to hot seat. Okay, you don't have to try all of these options, by the way. This is just to give you an idea. You can pick one, pick your favourite, and have a go. So, hot seating, you try to answer the following questions. You can write the answers in your book if you'd like to. You can just say them verbally. It really doesn't matter because you've created your diary map. That's the physical part today. So, in the hot seating, what was your favourite part of the Atlanti jungle? So you are in the Atlanti jungle. You are the person in the log. You are me. Okay, you've gone exploring, use your imagination. What was your favourite part? What did you love the most? Why did you love it the most? How did you feel the first time you discovered a jungle in your wardrobe? I mean, it's not every day you discover a jungle in your wardrobe, is it? And if you're an explorer, this is like best thing ever. Finding jungles in your wardrobe each Sunday. Fantastic. Did you ever feel afraid on any of your journeys, especially in the Atlanti jungle? Was there any point you felt afraid? Think about the sun setting, how they might feel when the sun is going down. Okay, so you can have a go at those hot seatings. If you'd like to write any of your answers down and share them with me on Dojo, great. If you want to just write in your Dojo post that you had a go at one of the activities, that's fine too, because your story map is what I'm looking for. And finally, miming. Miming is role play without talking. So you can do this, you can either act out different parts from the jungle log, or can someone who knows the log guess which parts you're acting out, okay? Well, they both go together, so you kind of need someone else to be able to guess what you're doing with this one. So act out the different parts from the jungle log, and can someone else guess which part you're acting out? No speaking. That's a challenge in itself. So that is the end of Tuesday's lesson. So thank you very much for joining me. I can't wait to see your story maps and diary maps and vlogs to show me how you interpret the diary and what you see in your head, because it will be very different to what I see in mine. And have fun with some of the acting activities if you get the time to. Otherwise, enjoy your afternoon and I will see you soon. Bye.